This research is an investigation of attitudinal values of ideational choices in institutional discourse. The evidence comes from annual reports published by Hanban, British Council in 2017. Here is the content of this presentation. It begins with an introduction and ends with a brief conclusion. A literature review. A literature review reviews several inadequacies in evaluation studies. The present studies fail to problematize the relationship between evaluation and identity building. To be more specific, they underestimate the intricacy of evaluative mechanism and only focus on explicit evaluative resources. This research aims to explore the mechanism of implicit evaluation, to investigate the functional role of the implicitly identity construction by conducting a comparative analysis of ideational choices in Hanban's and British Council's 2017 reports. According to Halliday, the ideational is different from the interpersonal. The former is mainly concerned with the control of changes in the material world, while the latter is related to the control of social relations among community members. However, according to Martin, the distinction between the ideational and the interpersonal is not so distinct, because ideational choices in the text are not so neutral and objective as they seem to be. They can also be used by the writer to express his stance and construct relations with the reader. If we regard evaluation as choices scattered on a skewed continuum, the ideational occupies the implicit end of this continuum. According to Martin and White, the ideational is the most implicit and indirect mechanism among evaluative choices. They afford evaluative choices and invite the reader to provide judgment, appreciation, and attitude. This is the corpus detail of the research material chosen for this research. As this table shows, the annual report, the size of Hanban's annual report, and the BCS annual report is not so balanced, so frequencies will be normalized to a common basis and render the annual reports of Hanban and the annual reports of British Council to be comparable. The most difficulty in the research is the methodology part, and this is also the major contribution of this research. The first issue is concerned with the unitization of the ideational. According to Halliday, there are different process types, and an analysis of the proportion of process types in the corpus reveals that the material occurs much more frequently than other process types. So this research only focus on the material processes. This result is not so surprising, for it reveals the nature of the annual report, which is to report the going-ons of its doings in the previous year. This figure represents the major elements of the elements in the clause, as it shows the most important element in a clause is the process verb. So it will be the focus of the main of this research. The agent will be used as the default filter for us to select clauses that is mainly about the institute rather than other entities, and the medium or range element will be used as an element to help the annotator to decide the evaluative polarity of the process type. So as this example shows, this research only filters the agent, the process verbs, and the medium range. So this is the unitization of the ideational part. Then we come to the scaling of the ideational. According to the nature of changes constituted in material processes, this research has categorized the material into two types, the physical ones and the chemical ones. Physical process verbs record visible changes that can be perceived directly by the reader. For example, do something, deliver something, or attend something. Other chemical process verbs record fundamental changes that cannot be perceived directly by the reader. For example, improve something, strengthen something, or transform something. After a comprehensive analysis of the corpus, we can retrieve statistical evidence from the analysis. This table shows HB, the physical process verbs occur more frequently, while BC makes much greater use of chemical process verbs. To summarize, physical material processes occur much more frequently in the HB subcorpus than those in the BC subcorpus, and the BC subcorpus is featured by a higher incidence of occurrence of chemical material process verbs. These findings indicate that HB relies heavily on a blow-by-blow factual account of what it has done to represent itself to the reader, while BC attaches greater importance to the elucidation of the transforming impact of its activities. To summarize, the length offered by the transitivity system in the annual reports of Hanban and the British Council is a vantage point for us to observe each institute's organizational life and the culture to which each institute belongs. This study also confirms that the culture, context, condition, the stylistic properties of the text. Here are the works that this research has made reference to. And here is my email address. Suggestions are welcome.